A planned rally at the University of Virginia winds up in the streets of Charlottesville. Plus, the UVA Medical Center goes on temporary lockdown as demonstrators made their way around the city. And a new song and music video aims to support the victims of last year's violence while also promoting healing in Charlottesville.
Live in high definition from the area's most experienced news team, this is NBC 29 HD News at 11.
Well, things are quieting down again now as Charlottesville community marks the one-year anniversary since last year's violent white supremacist rallies. As the sun went down, protesters had turned up the volume.
What was supposed to be a rally for justice on grounds at UVA wound up as hordes of people chanting and marching through the streets of Charlottesville. NBC 29's Henry Graff was with the protesters and joins us live with the latest. Good evening, Henry.
Steve Casey, good evening. Yeah, we can tell you off the top here that the streets of Charlottesville are quiet. What we really saw here tonight on this in the streets of Charlottesville was a reclaiming of space. Because remember, it was 1 year ago on this night that white supremacists descended on UVA in that surprise attack with their torches, instilling a lot of fear in people. Tonight, a different chant.
Why are you doing right here? We don't see no riot here. Why are you doing right here? We don't see no riot here.
UVA Students United, Black Lives Matter, anti-fascist, and community members joined forces for this protest. Chants included "No justice, no peace," "Take the statues down," and anti-police messages saying, quote, last year they came with torches, this year they came with badges. Now, this group started near the Rotunda and then took off through neighborhoods along Rugby Road, Preston Avenue, 10th Street, and West Main Street. They marched on the downtown mall, moved toward Market Street Park, but then turned away.
They weren't doing anything that was unlawful, and I asked them, you could see why the students would be upset when they see, you know, maybe 100 or so cops, or what it looks like 100 cops in riot gear. That just escalates the situation.
In the neighborhoods where those groups marched tonight, people came outside of their homes and from restaurants and businesses that we passed with applause and words of gratitude for those out in the streets. Here in the end, right now, group members say they will be back again tomorrow morning to protest. As for downtown, right now, as you can see behind me, there are still police cars, a heavy police presence here in downtown. But again, we can report all's quiet at this moment.
Henry Graff live for us in downtown Charlottesville tonight. Thank you, Henry.
Things are slowly getting back to normal at the UVA Medical Center after going on lockdown. That lockdown was in response to the demonstrators around the Rotunda earlier this evening. Right now, the hospital is operating at stage 3, meaning only emergency vehicles are allowed on Lee Street.
As protesters took to university grounds this evening, members of the UVA community watching the events unfold said what is happening this year and last year are deeply upsetting. NBC 29's Carly Kempler picks up our team coverage. She's live in our newsroom with that perspective. Good evening, Carly.
Hi there, Steve. Now, members of the community are reflecting on the leadership of the school's administration, saying this year's events were much more peaceful, but things could have been a whole lot better. Protesters from Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the UVA community protested near the Rotunda this evening. Their goal was to reclaim the area after last year's white supremacist rally. Other community members watched as protesters chanted and marched. Some say they had hoped for better relations this time around.
So, I mean, everybody's hopes were that it would be different and better under Jim Ryan. So far, that's not been the case. But again, he's only been here, 13 days or 12 days, so you got to give him a little time.
And if you had told me 20 years ago that 20 years into the future we'd be dealing with white supremacists on grounds, I would have laughed in your face. So the fact that, you know, what happened last year happened is deeply upsetting and not anything that is, you know, part of the UVA that I knew.
Sloan, who you just heard from, says she and her family are visiting the area and were aware of the demonstrations, but surprised by the turnout of protesters. Now, earlier this morning, UVA President James Ryan spoke at an event reflecting on the university's response last year. He apologized for some of the mistakes the university made last year, as well as to those attacked around the statues.
Carly Kempler live in our newsroom tonight. Thank you, Carly.
It is a quiet weather night on both sides of the Blue Ridge. Good evening to you. I'm meteorologist Josh Fitzpatrick. NBC 29's exclusive dual pole triple Doppler radar shows one little shower. Southwestern portions of Augusta County may impact Stanton overnight, but not expecting much in the way of showers or downpours overnight. Temperatures upper 60s in Stanton to the mid 70s in Charlottesville to Louisa and into Orange. In your Sunday first forecast, some patchy fog in the morning, a stray shower chance in the 70s, 80 at noon, upper 70s to low to mid 80s, and a better risk for a shower and storm for Central Virginia later in the day. And I'll show you an update on your 7-day forecast in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Josh. Now here's a look at stories we're tracking for tomorrow. Charlottesville activists, including Showing Up for Racial Justice and Congregate Seville, will gather at Washington Park Sunday at 9 a.m. to, quote, defend Charlottesville. The activist groups held a news conference on Friday to invite the community to join them in taking a stand against white supremacy and the fight for racial justice. Mount Zion First African Baptist Church on Charlottesville's Langford Avenue will host civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton as its Sunday morning service. Sharpton is set to call for unity as the nation confronts issues surrounding race and white supremacy. That service gets underway at 9:30 a.m. And people will gather Sunday evening at the Sprint Pavilion on Charlottesville's downtown mall to continue the healing process after last year's events. The worship service, called Better Together, Lament, Repent, Rejoice, will feature gospel music, scripture readings, and brief remarks. That gets underway at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Looking now at the day's top stories, people stayed peaceful in downtown Charlottesville today. A group of anti-fascists marched this afternoon with signs, one reading "Good Night, White Pride." Members entered the secure area in the downtown mall and walked to 4th Street. That group stopped for a moment of silence there at the site where Heather Heyer was killed in a car attack. Others who came downtown did so with mixed emotions about all of the safety precautions. The only two ways to get in were through security checkpoints on 1st Street South or 2nd Street Southeast, where they intersected with Water Street. People were supposed to consent to bag searches, but those checks seemed to relax as the night went on. There is a long list of prohibited items in the restricted area. And police did confiscate some restricted items at those checkpoints entering the mall from the several hundred people who did show up. Brass knuckles, a razor, a multi-purpose knife, and aerosol cans were among the items taken.
The first arrest of the day came on the downtown mall when one man wanted to make a statement about the prohibited items. Veterans activist John Miska allegedly went into CVS and bought items not allowed in the restricted area. Officers arrested him right outside the store. He was released with a misdemeanor summons.
A second man from North Carolina was arrested for misdemeanor trespassing and a third for being drunk in public. Those two were being held at Albemarle Charlottesville Regional Jail. A Charlottesville nonprofit offered nonviolence training today on the anniversary of last year's violent weekend. The workshop was hosted by The Sum, a nonprofit created to help promote diversity. That workshop was free to the public. Organizers say they wanted to hold the event to offer support to the Charlottesville community.
Absolutely. We definitely found that people have a lot of feelings built up around August 11th, and so we wanted to be able to do something on that date, and we had an overwhelming response, so we'll have multiple workshops that we'll have down the road, but for August 11th it was important for us to be able to offer something to the community.
People who attended were encouraged to share emotions and experiences from the events of 1 year ago.
People of all beliefs gathered at First Presbyterian Church today for a community service and an afternoon of faith and healing. That service was led by 6 women of color who led people in song and read poetry. Following the introductory service, attendees split up into different groups to take part in workshops that focused on issues like nonviolence and the Heal Charlottesville Fund. Organizers say they hope this service was an opportunity for community healing.
We really want to create a space, particularly for those people who have sacrificed so much for the sake of justice in this past year. We want to honor those who have been harmed. We want to celebrate the ways that we have resisted white supremacy.
Congregate Charlottesville says they held the workshop in hopes of preparing people of faith to continue to show up for matters of justice.
Some city market vendors still had a good turnout today, even though it wasn't in its usual spot. Not as many vendors were at Ick's Art Park as there are normally downtown, but many people were out enjoying themselves, eating and shopping. Some people told us they liked the location because it was less crowded and a little better looking with all of the art around. And Ick's co-founder says it was important to have the market this weekend.
And when we learned that the city market was going to be closed for this weekend, a bunch of the vendors came to us and said, this is our livelihood, and you know, we can't grow vegetables, pick them off the vine, and then let them rot. And so it was really important to us to try and create a sense of normalcy this weekend, to be the Charlottesville that everybody knows that we are.
The city market will be back at its regular location in downtown Charlottesville next weekend.
Today, President Donald Trump weighed in on the Charlottesville rally anniversary weekend on Twitter, which caused quite a stir. He wrote, quote, "The riots in Charlottesville a year ago resulted in senseless death and division. We must come together as a nation. I condemn all types of racism and acts of violence. Peace to all Americans."
5th District Congressman Tom Garrett made a stunning allegation today with regards to last year's white supremacist events in Charlottesville. He told CNN that Russian meddling played a role in encouraging violence.
I sat in a closed session briefing probably 2 months ago about Charlottesville with the director of the FBI, amongst others, and asked if Russian intermeddling had to do with fomenting the flames of what happened in Charlottesville. I was told, yes, it did. I asked, is this information classified? They said, no, it's not. I've waited until today.
The Wall Street Journal reported last fall that Facebook accounts that appeared to be linked to Russian entities posted racially divisive messages during last year's Charlottesville rally.
Singer-songwriter Amos Lee is promoting healing in the Charlottesville community and beyond with a new song and music video. Amos Lee released Dying White Light. It's written from the perspective of the wife of a white supremacist trying to shield her children from bigotry and hatred. All proceeds from the song will go to the Heal Charlottesville Foundation, which focuses on solving racial inequality and supporting the victims of last year's violence.
An Amber Alert issued for a little girl believed to have been abducted in the Shenandoah Valley has been canceled, but she's still missing.
Plus, officers find a gun near the scene of a shooting last night in Charlottesville. Details just ahead.
It appears Sunday will have the highest risk for showers and thunderstorms, and then it drops off significantly by Tuesday. I'll have the daily details next. Well, the majority of central Virginia missed out on showers and downpours earlier today, but that was not the case in the valley. Here's a time lapse from downtown Stanton showing us about 3 o'clock the western sky got dark. All of a sudden, the downpour moved on through town. As quickly as it moved in, it moved on out, and we had a nice sunset during the 8 o'clock hour. Right now in Stanton, it is just shy of 70 after a high of 87 before the downpour, but we only picked up about 107 of rainfall and the peak wind gusts almost 20 miles per hour. It is right now 75 steamy degrees in downtown Charlottesville after a high just shy of 90 with an easterly breeze today, and overnight lows were in the 70s. Expect similar conditions as we head into tomorrow morning. Low temperatures will not get much below 70 for most locations. It's in the 70s in Orange, Culpeper, into Louisa, Palmyra, on down into the Buckingham area. And we're talking about a couple of little showers overnight on our exclusive dual pole triple Doppler radar. There's one northeast of Louisa and also a couple of showers to the southwest of Stanton. But over the last 6 hours, we've seen most of the activity from the Blue Ridge Mountains into the Shenandoah Valley, but overnight, not dealing with much in the way of widespread activity. There were pockets of more than an inch of rain. Earlier today, we picked up more than an inch of rain in central portions of Madison County, prompting a flood warning, but no serious flood reports today. Also, northwestern Albemarle County Doppler estimates show an inch of rain, and northwest of Stanton, west of Harrisonburg, more than an inch of rain in localized areas. I think tomorrow over central Virginia, a better risk of more widespread activity. So one storm system is moving away. Here comes another one from mile-stopping grounds of Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. This pocket of energy will be over the Commonwealth for Sunday and Sunday evening with an isolated severe thunderstorm risk. That means a couple of storms may produce some damaging wind and also some local flash flooding because the storms will not be moving very fast. Futurecast shows overnight into Sunday and Monday mornings. It's quiet during the first half of the day, but then Sunday and Monday afternoons, the atmosphere begins to percolate and we get those showers and storms begin to blossom. Here we are tomorrow at 2 p.m. A pretty good shot of showers and storms from west to east throughout the middle part of the day, and then they fade away at night. And then it looks like we're going to be drying out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Next best chance for a shower and storm will hold off until probably next Friday. So overnight, lows in the 60s and low 70s, some patchy fog. For your Sunday, upper 70s in the valley, mid 80s for central Virginia, and an isolated severe storm is possible. Michael and Son 7-day forecast shows us more of the same on Monday in the mid 80s, a scattered shower and storm. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, overall dry and hotter, pushing 90 on Wednesday and Thursday, and a new storm system into the week with a new shower and thunderstorm. We really can't go more than 2 or 3 days this summer without mentioning showers and thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. Thank you, Josh.
We'll be right back.
Charlottesville police are looking for a gunman after a shooting last night. A report of gunshots came in around 11:19. Officers found a teenager bleeding from his upper body at the intersection of Concord Avenue and Albemarle Street. He was taken to UVA Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Officers found a gun near the scene this morning. Witnesses say they saw nearly a dozen boys fighting before hearing shots. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 434-977-4000.
The Amber Alert for a girl who is believed to be abducted along with her grandmother in Harrisonburg has been canceled, but they are still missing. Authorities are still searching for 12-year-old Angie Rubio and 48-year-old Elizabeth Rubio. They were last seen Sunday on South Main Street in Harrisonburg. That alert was canceled due to time restrictions on the alert. Abduction suspect, 48-year-old Harriton Serial, was arrested this week in Pennsylvania. If you have any information about this case, call 911. Well, coming up next in sports, the Jefferson Cup golf tournament is on the course for second round action.
And former Cavalier Ryan Zimmerman has a big day for the Nationals. Highlights next in sports.
The Nationals are looking to even the series against the Cubs today in Chicago. No score in the first inning. Ryan Zimmerman is at the plate with 2 outs and a runner at first. The former Cavalier launches the ball to center for a 2-run home run, his 8th of the year. Washington takes the lead. It's 6-1 in the fourth. There's 2 on and 2 out. Zimmerman is at the plate again. He's leaving the park for the second time in the game. This one is a 3-run shot. Zimmerman ties his career high with 6 RBI. The Nats win 9-4. They play the series finale tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Dustin Groves held a 3-shot lead heading into the second round of the 17th annual Jefferson Cup golf tournament at Birdwood Golf Course. Groves fired a 4-under par 68 in the opening round. The 2004 Monticello High School graduate played his college golf at Wake Forest. Riley Erhardt is a rising senior in Maryland who started the day tied for second at 1 under. On the par 5 second hole, Erhardt is in the fairway after a big drive. He will find the green with his second shot. Erhardt will miss his eagle putt long, but makes the putt coming back the other way for a 2-putt birdie. He shot a 2-under par 70 for the round. On the par 5 fifth, Groves is in the bunker with his second shot, still looking for his first birdie of the day. The leader does better than that. He chips in for eagle. Groves moves to 6 under for the round. On the par 4 eighth, Groves has an 8-foot putt to save par, and he knocks it in. Dustin Groves shot a 2-under par 70 for the day. Groves maintains his 3-stroke lead heading into the final round as he's at 6 under par for the tournament with Erhardt in second place. Zach Russell and Nick Little are tied for third at 2 under. Sam Young is in 5th place at 1 under par. Final round action begins tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the leaders teeing off at 11:08. There are just 4 races left for drivers to qualify for the NASCAR playoffs. The Monster Energy Series will be on the track in Michigan this weekend. Denny Hamlin will start from the pole position for tomorrow's race. The Chesterfield native posted a top speed of 202.794 miles per hour in qualifying, and he will start from the top spot for the second week in a row. Teammate Kyle Busch will start on the outside of row 1. The pole is the first of the season for Hamlin and the first of his career in Michigan. Hamlin is still looking for his first victory of the year. He's won at least 1 race every year since his rookie season in 2006.
You look back at the really great drivers of NASCAR, and they had long streaks, 10 years and above, of winning in a row. And you know, you just want to keep that going for sure. It's important. We have a car that has been driving good all day, and if we can duplicate that and have it driving the same in race trim, it should be a great day for us.
The green flag drops tomorrow at 2:30 in Michigan, which is NASCAR's fastest track. So you should see some really quick driving out there tomorrow.
Denny Hamlin, always nice to see him.
2 poles in a row for Hamlin. He's looking for that first win. He's doing well in the standings, so should be in the playoffs. But that first win guarantees a spot in the playoffs. And obviously, he's looking to keep that streak going. A win every year since his rookie season. It's pretty impressive. One more win tomorrow.
Continue it.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll be right back.
Well, not much on radar tonight, just a stray shower chance overnight. Over the next 5 days, though, Sunday will feature the best chance for showers and storms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. Isolated severe weather chance for tomorrow. I'll have a live update starting at 7 a.m. Be sure to tune in.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night.